think what it came down to is they knew they could take advantage of the Bears secondary. They tried to hit some deep stuff. The problem was they trusted Brandon Parker too much, and we've heard Gruden and Cable both call him the best swing tackle in the league, which we've argued against that. I wasn't against the move of playing him. I don't think it won or lost the game. I thought Parker did have some good snaps, and then he did have some bad snaps. But I just think they put too much trust into that offensive line, and they thought they could take some deep shots, and clearly that backfired. But the biggest thing to me in the game was the penalties. Like, a lot, they couldn't run the ball, and then they were always in second and long, third and long, and it just didn't really play to the strengths of what they were trying to do. And the defense tried to do as much as they could, but when you're getting two, I don't think I've ever seen a game where you had two holding penalties on the same play, and then it happened to them twice on the same drive. So they're going to have to clean up the penalties. And before we figure out the offensive line and the run game and what the offensive passing game should look like, you're getting multiple false starts and multiple holding penalties in a game. It's going to stall every offense.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It puts you completely behind the sticks, and then you can't really get off of that as well. Do they have to start start these receivers and the Raiders have, and even a guy like Max Crosby, when they're getting held, do they have to be more demonstrative? We're both laughing at it because we watch it on film. Do they have to be more demonstrative with their actions? Because it seems like they get held, and they don't get called for it. That double move where that you had on your Twitter handle with I think Jalen Johnson. This is what's his name?
It was Garden Waller.
You got Garden Waller, and it just, it's like they're quick to call it if it's a mismatch where Allen Robinson is covered by Amik Robinson, but if it's clearly Johnson can't cover Waller, and you put a double move on him, and then you see a change in direction. It's pretty. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious and I think Crosby has to start doing something, because it's just not getting noticed. I don't know what it is, or they're just closing their eyes. I don't know. I don't want to, I want to say that they're waiting for Gruden to leave, but but something like that's going on. They got to do something to get some of these calls here going, because they had the defensive line. Yannick got there a little bit, there. And I just thought that was frustrating in so many ways, because they just, it's just, oh my goodness. Justin Fields is not ready as an accomplished passer, and to have him walk into the building and win a game when the following week they're going to get smashed by the Packers is just going to be so disheartening. So to sit there and look at.
No, I agree with you. Crosby's clearly not getting the benefit of the doubt from the referees right now. Cleo Mack got the same treatment when he was in Oakland, and I thought it was interesting that Cleo Mack, most of the holding penalties Raiders had were against him. I'll give Leatherwood credit on the one that he got called for. There was an offsetting penalty with the hands to the face. He didn't hold anyone. That was a mystery call, but most of them were deserved. John Simpson's was deserved. Moreau, Parker, Leatherwood had one that was deserved. Mm-hmm. But then, flipping it over on the other side, Phylon got held a couple times, Crosby. But the bigger issue to me was the wide receivers. They were the Bears DBs were being physical down the field, 10, 15 yards down the field, getting hands on guys, getting in and out of breaks. And there was just not a flag for any of that. Even the last play of the game on that mesh route where Edwards then broke it vertical, the safety grabbed him as he broke vertical and held him up, and to not call it in those kind of situations. To me, normally I wouldn't really complain about that, but when you're that critical, where you're calling 7 holding penalties on one team and 0 or 1 on the other, then something's not right. There was another play where Nate Hobbs was trying to get out into the flat, and his arms extended out like this, and the DB just pulls his arm, and you see him kind of fall backwards, but with nothing. But the Raiders didn't lose that game because of holding call here or there. But I don't know. Maybe the league, maybe there was some mandate. Hey, they let Gruden coach, so let's throw some flags today. But hopefully that's water under the bridge, and the team shows up on Sunday, because at this point, this is almost a must-win game. They're 3-2. They've already lost the division game to the Chargers.
Can't be
they can't afford to lose can't be 0-2 in the division and still haven't played Kansas City. So this is a bigger game all around. It's an AFC game. It's an AFC West game. They need to stay close to the Chargers, who look pretty good right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Hopefully they go out, they show up, and this is a game they can win. Let's not like the Broncos started playing some better teams, and they've lost the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They can get some pressure on Teddy Bridgewater, but we're going to see. I like the way the defense played against Chicago, although the number one thing I told you on this podcast last week, they had to stop the run because they couldn't let them get into third and short, and they didn't. They looked good for 3 or 4 plays, and then boom, a 10, 12-yarder.
Yeah.
They just got beat at the point of the attack. I think Hankins isn't having the same kind of season on film that he has the past couple of years, where he's been an elite run blocker. He's been okay this year in spurts, but there's a lot of times where he's being blocked one-on-one, and that just can't happen from your nose tackle. So they need to rotate those guys in a little bit more. Solomon Thomas kind of got washed out in this game against the run. The backside pursued, over pursued. There was cutback lanes. Crosby and some of those guys on Gackler were on the ground a little too much, or they get cut blocked by the tight end or the backside offensive lineman. So they're going to see that this week. The Broncos are going to line up and want to run the ball and do the exact same thing Chicago just did to them. And the unfortunate part is the Raiders are doing this with 8 guys in the box. I mean, they got Abram down there. They got Littleton. They got Perryman. Where would this team be without Denzel Perryman right now? That's another question. That guy leads the league in tackles. He's the number 1 tackle.
And that's one of and that's one of the reasons why I thought maybe that they would give Gus Bradley this spot, because he probably wants to call. I see what they're trying to do, because you're right. I mean, the special teams coach does have has hands in every cookie jar, where the defense, it's hard to run the defense and still be the head coach as far as that goes. Broncos now. Before we get to questions from the people from our folks, thanks you for keep those questions coming. We really appreciate those. They lose 2 in a row. Play some decent talent. You're gonna see on this defense, the corners corners play aside, right? They don't travel.
I don't believe they travel. No,
they don't travel, because you're gonna see the same. Gonna see a more accomplished passer in Bridgewater opposed to Fields. But now you're going to see probably a big game by Courtland Sutton. He had one last week. He's big. I mean, that's going to be a very tough matchup for him. I don't know if they can put him in. I mean, you don't want to put him inside and put Hobbs outside. Maybe you put Keyshawn Nixon, but put Keyshawn Nixon inside and put they put Hobbs outside to be a little bit more physical with Courtland Sutton, but Courtland Sutton is a big boy to deal with. They do have tight ends. Patrick is a guy who makes plays for them as well. They got some run. They're gonna run the ball first. As far as that goes. But what are your thoughts about going against Denver here? I think defensively, listen. If you're on, we can move it pretty much move it against anybody. It's all about the offensive line in this game as far as them moving the football. But what are your thoughts about the Broncos here?
Yeah, I think the defense is going to have to show up. And the number one thing here is clearly stopping the run. But to me, it's the Broncos are going to move the ball. It's when they get in the red zone, they got to kick field goals. The Raiders have given up 90% of drives in the red zone have resulted in touchdowns this year. So that's kind of the one Achilles heel. They're not creating a lot of turnovers. Yeah. But they have to get them. They got to get behind the down and distance. They have to get into a situation where these defensive ends can get up the field and eat, rather than worry about trying to stop the run. And then you see when they have to stop the run, Ngakoue's not the same guy against the run. He can get blocked. And then they try to put Farrell and Nassib in as those run stoppers. If Jonathan Hankins misses this game, the Raiders might have to call up Niles Scott, a bigger body guy off the practice squad. They need size inside. Teddy Bridgewater is interesting because in the past he's kind of been that, check down, throw it in the flat, take the 5-yard pass. And this year he's kind of throwing the ball down the field a little bit more. The Raiders are clearly going to play a lot more cover 3 in this game, where there's going to be matchups on the outside. And Sutton does scare me because if they put him, the Raiders corners don't travel. So Hayward always plays to the strength of the passing offense, which is usually to the boundary, to the wide side of the field. And then Robertson's going to play usually to the passing weakness, which is usually the single wide receiver side, the X receiver, which is going to be Sutton. So they're going to be able to get him on Robertson pretty easily in this game. And how is he going to hold up? And is Amik Robertson going to hold up in the red zone. And you saw the touchdown to the tight end last week. Just a bigger guy. It's going to happen. He's a smaller guy. He's feisty. He's competitive. He's a good cover guy, but he's just going to get beat with size time to time. So the Raiders are going to have to get them behind and down in distance, and then make Bridgewater throw it underneath and rally and tackle. And it's going to be a lot of what you saw with Jacoby Brissett. There's going to be instances where they're going to give up the flats. They're going to take them. They're going to take the underneath routes, and it's going to happen. Hopefully they don't get in a situation. I'm still kind of shocked. I had some flashbacks to Chuck Bresnahan last week on that 3rd and 12 when the Raiders went sticks defense. They rushed 3 and they put all the defenders at the first down marker, and he just ran the inside in a 3-by-1. Mooney just ran 12 yards and turned around, and no one closed on him. No one collapsed, and they just let him catch it. Like that to me was a bigger reason to losing that game than the penalties, because if they get off the field there, it's 14-9. But it was interesting to see the Raiders go soft in that situation when they blitzed a lot. But I think Jonathan Abram had his best game in a while for the Raiders. I thought he played really well this week. So, it's good to see the encouraging signs on defense. Now it's about turnovers, stopping the run a little bit more consistently, which at the end of the day, the Raiders fans wanted a pass rush, but it's really hard to have a defensive line that stops the run and rushes the pass. So you kind of have to pick one or the other.
Yeah.
Pass rush at this point is good, but the way the Raiders defense is built, they need to kind of get a lead and play ahead so those pass rushers don't have to stop the run. Exactly. That's hopefully what we see. But this is a tough game for me to pick. I'm going either way. Depending on the time of day, I might give you a different answer, but we'll get to that later in the podcast, what our predictions are. But this is going to be a tough game.
We're going
to learn a lot about the leadership in the locker room.
Yeah, no question about it. Couldn't some of these plays just be buzz or play underneath and just cutting? Because you're not the turnovers they want to get. They're not going to get if they don't squeeze some of these routes. Like the Mooney route was just like, oh my God, that was so painful to watch. You cannot do that. If you're not going to reroute somebody at the line of scrimmage, you're going to give them a free release. Like you got to at least take, if you're going to maybe, give him what he thinks is an easy throw into the flat, and then, kind of cut that off so we can maybe get a chance to get some turnovers. Cause I haven't even seen a lot of opportunity. They've done a good job, get some 3 and outs, but I haven't seen even opportunities here to get turnovers.
Yeah, it's all about down and distance. They have to get 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. And on that particular play was Nick Kwiatkowski, who didn't play a lot in this game. Yeah. I don't know who the other defender was. I can't think off the top of my head, but they had 6 guys basically lined up at the first down marker, and none of them moved. If you watch the replay, they got into their routes. The receivers got 10, 12 yards down the field before anyone even started closing. And at that point, they should have read it right away. And it's more about this defense is more about spot dropping. So these guys are dropping to specific spots on the field rather than matching up the routes and man matching at certain points. So I think as they get more experience in it, that you'll start to see a little bit more of that. I was disappointed. I didn't think that Bradley mixed up the coverages very well. You didn't see him trying to really confuse Justin Fields much. Yeah. And granted, he didn't throw for more than 110 yards, something like that. But
nothing. Yeah.
But in crucial situations, he was able to convert some 3rd downs. The Bears converted 6 out of 13. The Raiders just didn't get off the field on 3rd down enough. Yeah,
no question about it. Did have a question from so Gruden took up a little bit longer than the show last time, but on YouTube we did have a question about like where do we get our football knowledge from and how long and like how stuff like that. So I'll definitely to that viewer we'll get back to that next week. But right now let's see, the first one is from Jen from the 413, wants to know what do we think about Deshaun Reed calling Mark Davis a coward. I don't know. I don't know Deshaun. I had him on my show when he first I had Deshaun Reed on my podcast when he first came over to cover the Raiders. It is what it is. That's how he feels. I don't feel like that's it. I think the biggest part of it is Mark has to get over the embarrassment of chasing somebody for 10 years, asking to be the head coach, and then turns out he is everything that this organization is totally against, from Flores to Shell to Trask. That's the embarrassment part of it. And I think that's what he wants to have time to deal with. Maybe on Monday, maybe after the game. I don't know, but like he should have a conversation with the media, even if it's just like, hey, go call Tim Kamakawa, who can't stand the Raiders, and just sit down with him just him head to head to get it out of the way. Sometimes when people are in situations like that, Ryan, they get their most hated rival in the media to interview him, just so nobody can say they got a softball interview situation.
So you're saying it won't be Hondo, Carpenter, or Vinny? Las Vegas.
Vinny. I'm still waiting for John Johnson to sign with the Raiders. As far as that goes. Any thoughts about that one? Nothing really.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know Tayshaun at all.
Yeah,
I
me
don't
either,
know why he decided to take a cheap shot at the organization. He's been covering the beat for about a year now. So I don't want to comment one way or the other. I don't know the guy.
I had him on once. Like I said, I had him on one time. That was about it. Michael from the 718 wants to know what do you think about Mayock today? I'll let you take that one as far as that goes.
Yeah, Mayock, I thought, stood up there and handled the adversity and answered the questions. And Mayock, as he said, he's a straight shooter. I appreciate him for that. I'm kind of the same. My wife says the same thing about me. Like, I just tell you what I think. I don't really try to hide anything. So I just appreciate how he handled it, and he was willing to get up there and answer the questions and talk about the best that he could about time frames and timelines and conversations with the locker room, conversations he had today with the pro scouting staff on bringing players in and kind of just the direction of the team moving forward and how they're all in. They don't have a choice but to be all in.
Yeah,
they have 12, like you said, they have 12 games left. So, I was impressed with the way Mayock was able to get up there and handle it, because this doesn't really involve him at all. Like, he's just kind of caught in the crosshairs, and he's the GM, and he was hired by Gruden. So for him to be up there and have to answer these questions must have been tough for him, but he did it. So kudos to him.
Yeah. David from the 808, who will be the next head coach of the Raiders? If I knew that, I'll go to Vegas right now. I'm trying to get some money off of that one. Thank you for listening or viewing as well on YouTube. I'm gonna say I was a fan of Corrupting Daz from back in the day. So I'll go with, I'll say they'll say it'll be a dog pound. I'll say it'll be a DPG. I'll say it'll be Doug Peterson at some point will be the head coach of the Raiders. I think that's going to be, he gives you a mix of experience, gives you a mix of big game ability as far as like being there. He argued, I know that situation very well in Philadelphia. Know a couple folks who work in the media out there, and that was really a battle about Wentz. And look where I'm just gonna say, look where Wentz is right now. That's all you really need to know about that, about who was smart on that battle. Wentz wanted to be a prima donna and really run the organization. Wouldn't even talk to Peterson himself. He would have another coach talk to Peterson. Excuse me. Well, go ahead.
I'm going to say that Brian Dable is going to be the next coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. But, if Dable ends up taking a job with another team that has an opening for one reason or another, I could definitely see Doug Peterson wanting to come back and coach, and it could be a good landing spot for him. I know a lot of fans are up in arms about it, but again, the guy won a Super Bowl not too long ago in Philadelphia. I mean,
with his own team, not Tony's.
Was that 2018? They beat the Patriots too in the Super Bowl. Yeah. So the Raiders could do a lot worse. Yeah. I could go through the list of Raiders coaches that have been around since I've started following the team in the early 80s, and it's a bad list. So you could do a lot worse than Doug Peterson. He's not my number one choice, but if he was the head coach, I would be on board with that.
Yeah, me too. Sherry, anyway we beat the Broncos. Yeah. I mean, there's a way you can beat the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos are not. Is John Elway playing this game? I mean, Shannon Sharp playing this game? I don't think so.
Terrell Davis isn't playing either.
Yeah. He's walking through that door. So listen, it's going to be a lot of emotion, a lot of stuff like that. I think it would be good to see. I know he took a day off last week and or a couple of days off, and it must have been a very hard situation for somebody like Carl Nassib to go on Darren Waller's, his teammates' podcast and talk about his relationship have that off of his shoulders and then have his coach have all those words. I think if they can come together and maybe even he could, if he even came back to the team, that might be uplifting as well as far as pass rush goes. Because in the limited time, he and Phylon have been great in limited pass rush, and that's where they belong kind of right now. In their development as players, they're not going to be guys who are going to be the Max Crosby's or the Yannick Ngakwe's. But I think they can beat them. I don't think that they're a great team. The Raiders have done a good job of not giving up. Like, it's amazing when you don't give up 30 points while you're in every game. Isn't that weird? Like, you don't give up 30 in every game. So they barely, so they can start kicking, and I want to see the kicker on the field a little bit more on fourth down. But it's all about stopping the run. Stopping the run early, getting some points early. You are allowed to score in the first quarter. Las Vegas, please do so. And I think they have the opportunity to go do it.
Yeah, clearly, I think they can win this game. Denver, got beat pretty handily by the Ravens, and then they went on the road and were down 24-6 to the Steelers. Both teams the Raiders have already beaten. So it's just luckily this isn't a 10 a.m. kickoff, so it's a little bit later in the afternoon. So hopefully it gives them a little bit more time to adjust to this. But it's going to come down to me, the biggest thing is, what is Rich Bisaccia going to do when adversity hits during the game? How is he going to handle it? And more importantly, how are his game management skills? What is he going to go for fourth and shorts? What is he going to do on 3rd and 1? Is he going to fake punt? He's a special teams guy. Does he have a trick up his sleeve?
Yeah.
What are the Raiders going to do offensively? Are they going to come out and throw the ball? So I'm very intrigued about this game, just to see what changes happen in the offense, but more importantly, Rich Bisaccia handling the situations that come up within the game, the 2-minute drill. Mm-hmm. Who's throwing the red flag on challenges? There's a million things that he's now going to be responsible for that he never was before. So it'll be interesting to see how the Raiders respond. But I absolutely think they can win this game. I don't know if I'm going to predict them to win it, but I think they can.
Yeah, as far as that goes, yeah. The rest are just kind of the same questions about the next head coach. So we thank you guys, but it's the same. It's going to kind of the same conversation we're going to have for about a year. So I don't want to keep. I want to kill everybody with that one as far as that goes. Anything else before we go to the picks? Do we have anything else? I forgot. I think it was anything on the list that we forgot.
No, I just think this is a big opportunity for the players in that locker room to come together and show that they are a good football team, that they can keep this thing together and not.
There's real talent. Yeah, there's real talent on this football team. Like, there are players. We've seen plenty of years, Ryan, where like it's like, if somebody had the draft from the AFC West, it would be like round 15 before you pick a Raider, right? There's some real talent on this football team. So, if it means getting Ruggs involved early or Edwards involved early and all that stuff like that, and Waller, I'm looking for a big game from Waller. I haven't seen a big game from Waller since week 1. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. But yeah, I definitely like what I've seen from this team at times this year. The offensive line, they just got to solidify it. When the zone is, just go to power and just be called a day. Give Jacobs, give Drake, give any of these running backs a chance to make a play. And if they get the second level, then we're talking about some good stuff, right?
Oh, definitely. I do think the Broncos defensive line is going to give this offensive line problems, especially in the middle. Mike Pennell is a big physical run stopping guy that's going to play zero technique and play right over James. So they're going to have some problem on the inside. I expect the Raiders to try to get to the perimeter more. Some more, toss, cracks, some pen and pull. Get Leatherwood. Get these guys out on the move. Brandon Parker can move. Colton Miller can move, and see if they can get some runs going on the perimeter like they did to that, that toss to Drake on 3rd and 7. Because they can't just keep running. They just can't keep, and that was an audible. That wasn't a call from Gruden. But they just can't keep running inside zone slice. 22, 23 personnel on 3rd and short and think they're just going to pound the ball. Like, they're not going to do that. Yeah. So they're going to have to be creative in the running game. Maybe we see a little bit more wide receiver screens, some slip screens, go more RPO stuff, some stuff to kind of loosen things up and give them a chance.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. How'd you do last week in your picks?
I went 2-1. I picked 3 games. The Rams covered. Tennessee was a layup. I don't know why that line was 4. And then the Browns kind of did me dirty late in that game. I thought they had it, and then they fell apart at the end of that game. But 2-1, I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I'm gonna go this week. I'm gonna go with the Washington football team to cover against the Chiefs. I'm not sure. I'm not sure they're gonna win the game. I don't think they can beat the Chiefs, but they can run the football. They can throw the football. I mean, like the Chiefs don't play defense at all, so like they really don't. So 7 points. I believe I'm just double checking. It's in Washington. It's in FedEx Field. So in that building. Road teams seem to not be having an issue right now anyway, so it doesn't even really matter where some of these games are played. But I think Washington will cover that spread. I'm gonna go with Pasaccio, and I'm gonna pick the Raiders to cover on the 3.5. I think I'm surprised. This line should tell you how talented the Raiders are physically, because this game should be, with everything that happened this week, interim head coach, all this drama, this has 5.5 written all over it. Even though Denver's not a big time team, I would say that would be something that I would definitely look at as well. I think for sure the Raiders. I think it's gonna be a game where it's gonna be either McManus or Carlson winning it at the end. I mean, that's how close I think this team is gonna be. And I didn't get the job done last week against the Chargers. I thought I did. I thought the Browns had that one. Not many times you score 42 points and lose, but I'm gonna go Baltimore. They're a 2-point favorite against the Chargers. The Chargers gotta lose a goddamn game some one of these times. And I think honestly, like they're playing a game. They can play. They're versatile. They can play high scoring game. They can play a low scoring game. I mean, they can play a lot of different ways. The Chargers, but I would say that the passing game, I didn't like the Chargers secondary going into the season, and I think that the Raiders missed a big opportunity on that Monday night to take advantage of that. I think the Ravens do take advantage of that. I think Mark Andrews is going to get things done. I think they're going to be able to run the football against them. The way that the Browns ran the football against them. So we'll see what happens there. But I'd like the Ravens. So I got the Ravens, I got the Raiders, and I have the Washington football team to win this week.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't like any of the lines this week, so I went some over unders. There's way too many road favorites. Everyone here seems to be like a home dog this week. A lot of these lines scare me, but some that jump out. First one is I'm going to go right back to Kansas City, Washington. Give me the over 54 in that game. I could easily see both of these teams putting up, 28, 30, 32 points. So I think that's good. And then I'm going to go flip side. I'm going to take the under. I'm going to go to Detroit, where the Bengals march in to face the Lions. I'm going to go under 49. I just don't see how either one of those teams, maybe the Bengals can get over 20. I don't see any way Detroit gets anywhere over 17 in that game. And then the other one, this one kind of scares me. I don't like New England this year. But if I had to take a line, give me New England as a home dog. They're getting 3.5 against Dallas. So I think that's a close game. We saw how well New England played against Tampa. For some reason, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Dallas blows them out. But give me New England covering, losing the game, but they'll cover 3.5.
Any weather out there in New England, or if it's weather out there? I gotta check the weather forecast. There's weather out there in Foxborough.
I haven't checked, but most of these lines are just scary. Like they're big numbers. The home teams are going to cover a lot of these. I just don't know which ones they are.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and then you got a home team. You got the Rams coming to the East Coast. 10-point favorites. You got some interesting ones out here. The Bucks on the road. 6-7-point favorites against Philly. Philly's been pretty. Besides the KC game, they've been
they're feisty.
They're in every game. So I do think the head coach Ed does is definitely he didn't win the press conference, but he's been all right. He's been all right in year one, at least in year one. And that's it, man. This is a show I did not think we would be having.
No,
this early in the year. I thought if Gruden was gonna. I think the one thing I would say is that him resigning and freeing up that $60 million is good. I mean, at least at least you're gonna sit there and you didn't fire him. You got to pay him money all the time. You know, he's actually gonna be going as far as that goes. I'm gonna look at so your brother said the Boston College coach
Jeff Halfley, yeah.
Jeff Halfley.
Just because
okay.
I guess he's highly respected at the college ranks, and then just the connection with Mayock and Boston College. That's where he went to school. He talks about it all the time. You know, just getting an interview. I think he's going to be on the list.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the favorite, but you know, I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up getting an interview at some point.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, on the Boston College website, they have his phone number. I'll give him a call. See what he says. Let's see
Call his office.
I love how they have a college football. They all have the coach's phone number right there, like as if you could call Jeff and just say, "Hey, how you doing?" Yeah,
shoot him an email.
Shoot him an email. See what happens as far as that goes. All right, man. That's it.
Do you want to?
Go ahead. What we forget?
Do you want to pick the Raiders game? I don't think we gave our final predictions for the.
Oh, I mean,
Sunday.
Oh, man, who's gonna lose 3 in a row? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Who is gonna lose 3 in a row? Are the Raiders gonna lose 3 in a row? Are they gonna rally this week? That's the biggest question. My God, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say yeah. I'm going alone and say yeah. I think they'll get a bone this week. I picked Denver to be in the last place team. I'm not going to change that now. So I think if they lose this week, they'll definitely be. I mean, I think they're the worst team in the division because of just the quarterback position. I just feel like we're gonna. I mean, you lose to Herbert, you'll live with it, even though you didn't. Herbert didn't really kill you that game, like he did the Browns, but. Back-to-back games, you're gonna lose. I mean, I just feel like they'll find a way to win this game. It's gonna be weird, might be ugly, might be just interesting moments in here with a head coach, but a new head coach. But they'll find a way. I think the weather. I'm gonna check the weather as I talk to you about it. But I really feel like the Raiders have a real shot to win this game. I mean, and the line says it. The line definitely says that the Raiders have and the talent on the team says that they have an opportunity to win that. What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, definitely. When you texted me that earlier this week about the line, I said, "What is it, 5.5, 6?" Like, because you figured they get 3 for the home.
So 73 and sunny on Sunday.
Like I said, I changed my mind every hour on this game. If you would have asked me,
it's crazy, right?
Me earlier, I would have taken the Broncos. I just don't know how that offensive line is going to get anything going in the run game. But the more I talk to myself about this, I think the Raiders are going to go back to the game plan they had the first 2 weeks, and they're just going to say, you know what, we can't run the ball. We'll figure out creative ways. I think they're going to use Josh Jacobs in the passing game a little bit more this week.
Pass to run. Pass to run.
Denver,
pass to
run. The Denver linebackers are not very good in pass coverage, so I think you're going to see more of a ball control, short game. You're going to see a lot more crossing routes. You're going to see Darren Waller not working so much vertically as we have. Try to just get him the ball, 5 to 10 yards from line of scrimmage. Get it in the hands of the playmakers. I think they're going to simplify the offense, and I think they're going to figure this out. I'm going to go 24-20 Raiders. Save the season.
Yeah, save the season. We're gonna get. I mean, was it all these really good creative folks who make t-shirts, Raider t-shirts online? I'm gonna have one that says "Save the season" with
we're gonna have
Waller catching the touchdown pass.
I sent a picture to another Raiders fan earlier of Tony Sperano burying the football. I think the Raiders are burying the John Gruden era, and they're gonna go out and win on Sunday.
So just so you know, I used to coach baseball, and I used that same thing, and we won the tournament. So yeah, it works. It works. Thank you, Tony. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Tony. Rest in peace. All right. Another good show, man. I appreciate the time. All the we had like a lot of folks on YouTube, Instagram. We put it. We check with the show everywhere. All the podcast outlets as well too. So thank you for listening and watching us on the Planet Raiders podcast. And for the 24th time this season, and this is the final time we will actually be playing the Dodgers. Can the Giants just get this thing over with? My God, unbelievable! What a series! Anything else?
No, that's good. I'll be hopefully be able to watch some of that game tomorrow.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I think the world will be able to watch it tomorrow. Who's Thursday night football this week?
Tampa at Philly.
Brady. Come on. Okay, enough for Brady. Watch some baseball for tomorrow night. All right, folks. See you next time.
All right, take care.
Take care.